Okay, let's talk about today's class here, lesson 5, sizes of the scale factor. Okay, when working to find the scale factor, start with remembering your definition for a factor. Keeping it simple, when we multiply two factors, they produce, or more importantly, equal a product. So like when you're doing your factor trees, you have the number and the two factors that were part of that composite number. All right, thus any work with scale factors is going to involve multiplication. So we're going to our next slide here, all right? Boom. Slide 2. All right. Thinking about numbers here. If we have an equation, we have 4 times a equals 12. Well, we have to solve for a, right? And usually to do that, you have to divide both sides of that equation by 4 to figure out what a is. Well, when we're dealing with our drawings here of scale, we're working with the same thing. We have our original size here, right? We have our original here. And we got to figure out what makes it into our scaled copy here. And we realize that, hey, we got to multiply this times something to get this. And if we're saying that this is 4 units and that this is 12 units, well, then we had to multiply it times 3, right? So times 3, so times the scale factor of 3. So let's think about that. Let me go back to our pointer here and go to the next slide. And of course, I'll erase on the next slide here. All right, let's go back here. All right, let's talk about if we change things around here. Let me just erase something here. Erase. Boom, boom, and just erase as best I can. And you see, whoop, whoop. Yeah, follow the magic eraser. I know some of you guys are easily entertained by that. All right. Okay. All right. So let's say if we flip it around. Let's say we make the original larger than the scaled copy. Let's say that now we're talking about this being 12 and this being 4. Well, what would it take us to get there? Well, we certainly wouldn't be multiplying by a whole number. And so we'd have to multiply by a fraction. And so to figure that out, well, we divide both sides by 12 here, right? 12 divided by 12 is 1 to give us our a. 4 divided by 12, that simplifies to 1/3. And if we think about it, 12 times 1/3. Well, 12 times 1 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And so here, scale factor is going to be 1/3. So there's that one right there. All right, so bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Let me erase this real quick here. Whack, whack, wash, 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 wash. Wax on, wax off. All right, next slide here. Pointer, last slide. All right. Okay, so again, if we have two shapes here and we have our numbers here, right? Think about it. 3 times 2/3. All right. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. If this is the original, we're going back this way. We'll think about it this way. 2/3 times 4 times 4.5. Well, 2 times 4.5 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And so you see this reciprocal relationship. 3 halves. Let me highlight it again. 3 halves. And 2/3. And notice the way the arrows are flowing, depending on who is the original figure and who's the scale copy. All right. And so if you realize that, if you multiply these numbers times this, you get these numbers. If you multiply these numbers times this, you get these numbers on the corresponding sides. All right. I hope that helps, and I hope you have no trouble with today's activity out here.